Good morning and welcome to our weekly edition of the Tourismus Namibia live broadcast on Facebook. My name is Frank Stefan. I'm from the Allgemeine Zeitung, and with me is Chloe Deer. She is my colleague who most of you will know drives the whole of covers the whole of Namibia, basically to bring you news items and new reports for our Tourismus edition. Welcome, Chloe.
Thank you, Frank.
Just this week we'll do it a bit different. Normally I know we bring you a bit of news. This week we've decided to shorten it a bit because we are later bringing you quite a lengthy interview, and otherwise it would become too long for you to actually follow. So today we'll simply start with destinations. Okay, so the first item we wanted to talk about is Lüderitz.
I think obviously wind in Lüderitz is like one of the defining characteristics of the area, and so the windsurfing in the area is obviously like world records have been broken. 6 weeks a year they have the Lüderitz Speed Challenge, and I was there when they were actually just practicing in the man-made canal. It's just interesting though, because of the location and having the desert and the Atlantic, the thermal atmospheric pressure creates speeds unlike anywhere else in the world. And so, there is nowhere else like it where people are able to break these records. I think.
No, they've been going there for years now.
Yeah, and it's actually unbelievable because the canal's obviously man-made. From a distance it looks as though they are windsurfing on the ground, because you can't really see the water. So it is actually really beautiful. But I think the current world record's almost 100 kilometers an hour, which is unbelievable if you think about it. I would love to see it actually during the event, but even just in practice, it's phenomenal.
Look, I know the winds because as a child I used to live in Lüderitz, so I know. I especially know what the wind can do to you when that sand gets you on your skin while you're not properly covered. So, yeah.
I actually saw a couple of guys hit that water, and the sound, it almost sounds as though they're hitting a brick wall. So,
well, it should. Yeah.
I think, it's not for the faint-hearted, but it's definitely an exciting thing to witness.
A totally different angle to Lüderitz. We normally bring you Kolmanskop and those sort of things, but this is something else to see. I think they're always going down there in September, is it not?
Yeah, it's in the spring that they are.
Because I know it's quite a big thing. They've got guys from all overseas coming in.
All over the world.
You mentioned something about the record holder being a Belgian.
It's unbelievable, but it's the place to go.
Anyway, that's down in the south at Lüderitzbucht, in what is called the Große Lagune, the Big Lagoon. And then obviously you also wanted to tell us a bit more about Mashi River lot.
Yeah, I think this week we're focusing on kind of a little bit more adventurous side of Namibia, and one of the most exciting experiences I've had was actually doing the Mashi River Safari. They actually do a camping safari where you're able to camp along the Mashi River system, but I didn't do that. I just did the boat cruise with Dan Stevens. And it's one of the most exhilarating experiences I've ever had. I mean, Dan is just incredible at what he does. And I mean, like telling me to jump out of the boat so that I could be literally meters away from elephant lying in the rushes. Honestly, like when it comes to like an experience of exhilarating Africa, I don't have anything to compare to it. In this picture, I was literally lying in the rushes. It was unbelievable. I was covered in mud by the end of it, but it was so worth it. And it's just, you get to experience wildlife, I think because the water disguises your scent. And so you're able to get so close to the animals that come from Bobatwa and surrounding kind of national parks. So it's just such a unique way of experiencing these incredible animals, especially in drought. It's they all come obviously to the river, and it's just the sundowners that you have on the water. It's incredibly unique. You are going along the river, dodging hippos that just come out of nowhere. So it's exhilarating, and it's definitely something I wouldn't miss.
At times you get to sort of tickle of fear as well, because I remember You sort of look at this hippo and you wonder, you know, actually it's not so far from him to me. And you
So
always
dangerous.
read about hippo accidents and attacking hippos and whatever, so you get quite uneasy at times.
Yeah, no, yeah, I sounded brave, but I definitely, a lot of the shots were out of focus because I was shaking so much, but it was worth it. It was honestly, add that to
and
your
the animals
itinerary.
actually are quite tame. Somehow they're not worried by you when you come from the water side.
It feels that way. Again, I'm not sure if it's scent or I wouldn't
I
take
wouldn't be
advantage of
surprised
that.
if your theory is right, that the scent gets disguised. Yeah.
I don't know, but you would think that there would be more of a problem because obviously poaching in the area is a problem, and so you would think that they'd be more aggressive. But I think,
They
thankfully,
possibly know by now who's meaning well and
Yeah.
who's sort of from the other side. But while talking of water, you wanted to tell us a bit more about how the people handle their water out there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the north you would expect to be, you know, so much about the north is the rivers and the water systems that surround it. And even in drought, I mean, it actually rains in Angola that affect the river supply. And so these boreholes have been dug all around the region. And the aquifers supply the region. There's more than enough groundwater to supply them even in drought. So it's just beautiful when you're there to see how water and the collection of water is so much a part of their daily life, and how they kind of carry the water on their donkeys or sleds, like you were telling me. I actually haven't seen that, but it's just so much a part of the daily life of the children. You know, it's part of their daily routine to go and collect water at these water pumps, and it's just beautiful to.
Yeah, it's certainly part of the daily routine, really.
It's daily routine.
It's something that we take for granted.
Completely.
We open a tap and that's it. Whereas 20 liters for them is valuable water, and not to be wasted.
Yeah.
And here, this is the photo that I'd made near Okongo once. It basically shows a mokoro, which is being converted into a sled, and then they carry their water that way. Yeah. Because the difference is obviously he now has 200 liter as opposed to 20. So, yeah, it's crazy how people have their own ideas how to help themselves, and it's nice to see they do. More often than not, you find that they use donkeys, really. You see that quite often, yeah.
Because I think it's only the Kunene River that they are able to drink the water from. But
I think they can use it from different sites in the river as long as it's flowing, obviously. And then obviously they'll go for those spots where there's no mud and so on. So they've got their favorite water sites. There's no doubt about it. But sometimes that means they have to travel quite far to actually get it.
Yeah.
And in Ovamboland, for example, you've got at regular intervals, you've got water sort of spots where people can actually get water, but it's often far away, so you know they need to travel. It's in Ovamboland, they often have to even travel much bigger distances.
Sure. No, it is. It's beautiful from the outside, but actually living it is a different story. Yeah.
I think it's part of your routine, but it's still hard work.
Yeah.
Anyway, so these are destinations that we wanted to show you this week, and hereafter we've got our interview to the point with this time Maggie Mbako. Good morning, my name is Frank Stefan, as you heard before, and with me in the studio is Maggie Mbako. Maggie is my colleague at Namibia Media Holdings. Welcome, Maggie.
Thank you, Frank, and good morning to all our followers out there.
Anyway, so what we did this week is Maggie and I spent some time on the road, especially to the north. We visited Otjiwarongo and Tsumeb, and what a sight it is along the road. You've got all the greenery and water and what else. So hopefully we can rely on some more rain to come. But we actually spent our days trying to inform possibly you as a listener, if you are part of the hospitality trade in Namibia, to get some awareness going for our Namibia Tourism Expo, which is coming up in June. So, without much ado, maybe you want to explain some more to the people?
Yes, Frank, indeed, a very beautiful morning and beautiful scenery of beautiful green Namibia that we have experienced over the rain that we have experienced over a couple of months, and comparing when we were at the coast with the latest trip to the north, extremely beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, and as you have said, we have been on the road. We started early, late January, and now we ended with the northern part, in fact, yesterday with Sumep. The idea is to engage our stakeholders,
Yeah.
our exhibitors with the Tourism Expo, and basically our tourism stakeholders. We know as the Expo organizers that we've done quite a lot. We have tried a lot of things. Some of them have worked, some of them have not worked, and we will continue trying. And therefore, we have then opted on engaging our stakeholders to get their views and to get their comments. As we have said, we have tried a lot of things. The Expo for the past 5 years have been celebrated under 5 themes. We have community, we have conservation, we have transport, we have safe and travel, and we have energy that we are celebrating this year. Those are the 5 themes, and we are now into the 5th sub-theme of our 5 years of the themes that we have set ourselves with. As we said, we have tried a lot of things. With all those 5 themes, we had focused engagements with our stakeholders and as well as the visitors. Specifically this year, we are focusing on energy, and that's a subject that we are going to talk, just be a little bit further in our discussions. But what I want to say here is that our purpose for really engaging our stakeholders is to speak to those that have been exhibiting with us for all the years and hear where we can improve. Speak to those that have been exhibiting with us for the past years and have somewhere stops in between, to know what is that, what were the challenges. We know, of course, economic challenges, the economic situation in our country can be one of the factor to that, but it might not only be that. So we need to know, is there anything that we can do to make the Expo again a better place for them to make business? And of course, those that has never exhibited at the Tourism Expo, so that we can then tell them that is indeed the only platform that is arranged in Namibia for the tourism sector to sit under the same roof and really discuss topics of tourism.
Yeah, no, that is really the point, who should attend. More than often we found that people were asking us, do we really fit the bill? And we quickly found out that yes, you actually do. Because this is not only for the big hotels and stuff, as you said, on a number of occasions. It is really for everybody, and if we look at it, maybe on the screen you will now see the layout of the whole showgrounds. And obviously it's not big enough for everybody to focus into it, but all the brown areas are technically our halls, and where we've changed our system this year is in the past we used to have all these tour operators and the lodges and whoever interspersed in between the wineries and the suppliers and everybody. So anybody who would go there would technically have to walk through 5 halls to hopefully find the person he was looking for, or she. And so what we've done this year is we've bundled the whole thing. If you look on the left-hand side, you will see the main hall, which will be mainly, if I was correct, Maggie, it's the ministry and the town of the year, and or the towns for that matter. Maybe you want to expand on the towns a bit?
Yeah, in fact, in the Camelthorne Hall, which used to be the presidential hall, that's where you find the key stakeholders. That's where the partners of the Tourism Expo are, and of course the ministry and institutions probably like the NTBs and the city of Windhoek. And then right after that hall, then we have the hall where we will have other tourism players. The reason for that is really to create a platform where they can really engage one another. We say the Expo is a platform where the tourism stakeholder can network, can exchange ideas, and can also learn on the trends in the industry. Now, that can only happen if they are really under the same roof, because it makes it easier for everybody to have time to leave their stand and really walk around the fellow colleagues and see, hey, what's happening? How are your beds? How is your occupancy? What is the latest? With the corona coming, what are the strategies? What are we putting in place? Surely there is a lot of things that they need to engage.
And I think if you look at the advantage, if you look at the map again, you will see on the right-hand side there, obviously the other halls as well. But the idea is obviously to bundle a sort with sort. So in other words, we've got all the tourism people organized in one spot. We might have our different suppliers in another spot. The benefit is that if one of the tour operators, or for that matter, any of the lodges or bed and breakfast, whoever comes now, quickly wants to sort something with a supplier, he doesn't have to start going on a big search. They will literally just go to wherever the wineries are, and they'll find all the guys on the spot, talk to them, find out what's interesting for them. Vice versa, the wineries, on the other hand, can simply go to the lodges and say, listen, I'll quickly talk to these guys over there, and at least I've got them all together. So in that way, I think this bundling of various interests makes more sense, especially if we then look later on. You will see in between those little brown spots, there's the main road running through, and that's where we plan to have our events. And so the idea is really to join these halls through our events and the various interesting spots we'll organize in between competitions that will take place, various winnings to be had. And talking about winnings, I mean, we obviously have our Career Expo, which will be in the back of the lodges. Never to be underestimated, our Career Expo, very important, because we obviously get all our schools involved. My Zone is involved in there as well, My Zone being our paper for the youth, being written by the youth. And the Career Expo gives huge opportunities for children and or students to find out how to get financing, what do they need if they want to go overseas, study in Germany, study in England, study in South Africa, or simply just find out how the banking arrangements are for students, special deals as for cars, and. So it's a huge opportunity. And it is My Zone that will then bring our daily publication each day.
Yeah, Frank, and not only that, the exhibition is, the Career Expo actually also created platforms, because we have got a lot of students that are aiming at studying tourism. Now, we are actually pleading to those that are in the tourism sector in different careers to really come out and present what is that they are doing in tourism, whether it's a front office manager or food and beverage, as you name them. Those are the careers that are in the hospitality industry or tourism industry. There's a little understanding that to study tourism is when you want to travel, but little that to the learners knows that there is actually more than different careers that you can do. So we are actually calling upon those that are in the hospitality industry or tourism industry to approach us so that they can really share with the students that are now in still grade 11, 10s, planning to study tourism, so that they can really listen to the options that are available.
Yeah, and make a choice now. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And talking of talking or presenting, the other option is obviously we're busy looking seriously into getting all the people from the tourism trade to take part in a little auditorium that we'll have as part of our tourism hall, so that if somebody wants to present his or her lodge or her entity, whatever enterprise it is, they can actually speak to us and come with presentations. And so it's not only Career Expo, it's also to talk, exchange, inform. So the whole concept is much bigger now. And then obviously this whole thing culminates into, people always think Miss High. I mean, what does the beauty show have to do with our tourism expo? And yet there you see it. Last year we had our recycling. So these girls do not only look beautiful, they actually have to do something for getting that prize. You've got more detail on that?
Yeah, in fact, there's really, as you said, there's more to to beauty. Those girls are engaged in community projects, specifically with an Amos Meerkat project school that is an NMH corporate social responsibility project. So they really go out there to those schools that we have about 150 of them and see the needs at those schools. And they really pick a project that we monitor as to how they are carrying it out, how they get solicit funds to carry out their projects, and how they implement them. So that is really part of those 9 finalists that we are going to have actually tomorrow. They will then select their projects from the schools of Amos Meerkat project schools.
And similar, we will carry on. You will see there that this sort of brings us to the days that we've got. On the first day, we've got what we call a trade day. Maybe you want to expand on that a bit?
Yes, it is a trade day. That is a Wednesday, the 10th.
Exactly.
It is a day that we really have our decision makers really blessing our event at the official opening of the Tourism Expo. It is a very significant day, and it is also a day where exhibitors actually take time to really make business and network with fellow tourism operators, because this is what we call a trade day where really business conversations do take place.
Exactly, so what we actually want, the suppliers talking to the hoteliers and whatever.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and then on the 11th, that's the Thursday, we'll actually have our big conference.
Yes, Thursday we have a conference. For the past 3 years, this is actually the 3rd year that we are having tourism conference. Again, it's tourism people gathering and sharing ideas, but in this specific year, we are again focusing on the theme with energy. We will have presenters presenting various energy savings and renewable energy strategies and mechanisms that are available in the tourism sector. So the conference,
possibly solutions that
solutions. Yes, the conference starts at 9 o'clock on that Thursday, and it ends with lunch at 1 o'clock. Again, we are inviting the operators, the tourism players, to really come to the conference, because there will be presenters with knowledge in the subject that we are inviting to come and share their expertise. And it's just best if really the tourism players can attend the conference.
Yeah, it's always nice because the minister always turns up. He's always blessed us with his appearance, and he's actually one of the big fighters for it. We actually have a photo for you where you can see how we light the fires, as we call it. That's where the actual big doo-ha is. Yes,
in fact, this year we are trying to get the Minister of Mines and Energy. We are not saying that because comes the 21st, cabinet will have a new cabinet. Whether we have the same Minister of Mines and Energy, that's another discussion that will only happen after the 21st of March. But we are hoping to have the Minister of Mines and Energy to really open the conference this year. And of course, our Minister of Environment and Tourism, as usual, we will again extend our invitation to the Minister to officiate the Namibia Tourism Expo, as the current minister have been doing actually over the past 5 years.
Yeah, and then obviously on Friday, it's much a business day. That's where we have a couple of the competitions running and so on, but this is an ongoing thing. The biggest important part, if I can take you to a photo again, we have the Responsible Tourism Awards, which will already have been allocated on the day before. But then this is the day when businesses plan business. This is a day that takes care of itself. You've got people running in and out, doing their last minute consulting with whoever is available there. So Friday is much a business event, and we usually find that is filled by the people because they want to be there, get their stuff done. And then on that Saturday, it is exactly what we said. That's when we have our guests, but they obviously, this is the culmination of Saturday, because at 4 o'clock we've got these live artists, local and from abroad. But before that, we will have had our chef theatre, as per usual, all the competitions associated with that. We've got our bridal competition. It's one of the points we raised during our show this week, where we kept on telling people that the big money to be made for the big organizations or hotels, lodges, whatever, that have conference facilities, they automatically also have the possibility to promote their bridal and their wedding organization and all that sort of thing. And then obviously we also have the Exhibitors Awards. Yes, and like I said, the RTAs will have been determined by that. Official opening long gone. Namibia Town of the Year will have been known by that time. So this is really where we now come to the point, what can we offer for you to just make it special for those of you who've never been before?
Yes, Frank, we actually have something very special presented or being made possible by Namibia Media Holdings, where they will invest 200,000.
Is it 100,000 or 200?
200,000,
wow.
Which is tickets, or actually $1,000 per booking that is going to be done at the Tourism Expo. Now, what is going to happen is those tourism hospitality operators, accommodation operators that are going to be exhibiting at the Expo will have $1,000 of the bookings made during the Expo to be paid by Namibia Media Holdings, and that will be at 200,000 in total. These vouchers will be distributed at various platforms. One of the platforms that I can already share is we are going to have around 25 vouchers that are going to be given to the 25 first visitors to the Expo.
Okay.
Now, what will happen is if you are among the first 25 people, exhibitors, visitors to the Expo, and you enter the gates of the showgrounds, you will receive a voucher.
Okay,
Now, $1,000. Now, when you receive that voucher, you will go then into the tourism hall, where all the tourism operators are exhibiting. So you will find Maggie Bed and Breakfast as an exhibitor, and then my bed and breakfast in Swakopmund, and you say, oh, I'm going to Switex in October, and I need to make my booking now with Maggie Bed and Breakfast. Your weekend cost will be at $2,000, for example. So $1,000 will be paid by Namibia Media Holdings. So the client will only pay $1,000 over to my business. So which means it's a 50%
discount,
discount, not necessarily discount, but at least compliments of NMH into that. The purpose really is to encourage domestic travel. We know that our operators, in terms of accommodation, when it's really low season in terms of our foreign visitors, really there is a fallback position, which is a local travel. So that's why we are really encouraging or just adding value to our exhibitors and in an accommodation categories, and as well as to our visitors, really to know that it is important to travel domestically, and we are just encouraging them to know also their own country, not only when they say fair, but for a holiday, for example. It's also a good planning for your year-end holiday, so that you can again benefit from these specials.
And we as NMH will obviously then pay that 1,000 voucher out to whoever the hospitality
certainly
partaker is. And then there was a promotional space as well, if I remember correctly. You always kept explaining that those people who come for the first time and they're always worried about that they cannot afford the space for a stand.
Oh, in fact, it's not only those that are coming for the first time. We've got a package, as you can see there. You have a package to the accommodation operators, like a square meter for a stand square per square meter is 1,500 Namibian dollars. That has not changed for the past 3 years. So if you take up this package in an accommodation category, you will have a discount of 500 Namibian dollars, which means you'll only pay $1,000 per stand. And again, you will have a space in the Tourism Glossy magazine for 87 by 90 millimeters
As an advert, yeah.
It's an advert in a glossy magazine. Of course, it's a June edition. And yeah, that is a package for only for accommodation operators, which is, it's a $1,000 that your booking, that you'll benefit as part of your bookings if done at the Tourism Expo. It's a $500 off your booth. And of course, a space in the glossy magazine of Tourismus.
Which is a nice opportunity, you know, for anybody. And I mean, the Tourism Magazine, yeah, most of you know it by now. We don't want to spend too much time on that issue now, but it's a fact. It's a gloss magazine. It is these days that we have started to get ever more involved in specializing on certain areas. So it is up to you. If you want to, you can always contact us and we will explain to you what our different magazines are planned, when they are planned to come out, and number two, what sort of themes they will have. Because make no mistake, we've made a point of not only concentrating on, for argument's sake, Kunene or Wambuland or whatever we visit at any given time, but we've also started looking at, late in the year we'll have an edition just specializing on conferences. And on my travels now, having listened to the various ideas that are out there, I somehow feel that there is going to be a special edition just on backpackers. And for that matter, we've already identified there should be an edition just for Gulf estates and stuff like that. So really it becomes ever more interesting. The idea is not always to just feed you, you know, pictures of lions and elephants, as much as we all love them, but tourism is also about our people, about what we offer to the tourist beyond the beauty and all the animals that we've got. So look forward to some more of that. And we've as part of that Tourism Magazine, we actually show you here, okay, bad luck as it was, ITB was cancelled. We spoke about it in previous shows, but not to be discouraged. Indaba is coming up, and hopefully by that time things will have sort of settled down a bit again. And then by the same token, what's interesting is Tourism Namibia is now being marketed down in Cape Town at the major airports. So very important for us to realize that if we offer you that little insert in our tourism magazine, it's not just empty talk, it really goes places. People start to know about you. Maybe you want to quickly expand on this one, Maggie?
Yes, that's January 1. It's a pack again that a package that again includes an exhibition at the Namibia Tourism Expo, a 9 square that is a 3x3, and again a full page advertisement and for a web banner for 12 months in a tourism magazine, and of course that package goes as little as $11,000, just above $11,000 ex-VAT per month for 12 months. So this is one of the packages that are available with the Tourismus Magazine.
Yeah, and we've got further ones for those of you who haven't budgeted for the former expense. You can also opt for half a page, which then obviously has their own logic, and the same applies to Journey 3, where you actually have a quarter page. So there's something for everybody in there. And yeah, these are the editions that I spoke of earlier. They're coming up, and on there you will see there's a Namibia Tourism Expo edition, which is just dedicated to our Tourism Expo. That's in June, so we've got a whole lot of news lined up for that already. But as you can see there, later on in the year, we've got quite a number of different themes that might suit you. So have a look, speak to one of us here. You can see there, obviously, I'm involved in the editorial side, so is Wiebke Schmidt. Alexander and Sven mostly concentrate on the layout. The big person to make note of here is Lindy. Lindy, if you want to contact somebody who can help you, assist you with the marketing. And that, if we say thank you, it is not thank you necessarily forever, but it is thank you for now. Thank you for being on the show, I almost said Vicky, Maggie. Yeah, like I said, please contact us. Our numbers are available everywhere, and I'm sure we'll have them as part of the final program. We'll give you a few contact addresses as well. so that you may contact us at any given time. We are more than happy to assist you, and hopefully this show has given you a bit of a background.
Yes, thank you, Frank. And it was really nice having me on the show. And I just want to say, once again, the Expo dates are the 10th to the 13th of June. And of course, bookings has been open for the past 2 months now. So please go there and book your stand. And please do come to the Expo. Again, we have been saying it's better and better. This year is again better and bigger. We've got a lot in stock. Entertainments are lined up. We are giving you an expo for everybody, your children, young, elders, senior citizens. So it will really be an expo for everybody. So do come all to the Windhoek Showground for the Namibia Tourism Expo, 10 June to 13th June. And thank you for having me.
And if you need more information and you couldn't have all written it down that we've spoken about now, do yourself a favor on Facebook, go to Namibia Tourism Expo or NTE. It's a Facebook site, and you're welcome to get more information there. Thank you very much.